watching Abundance Show. And today with us is Ingrid Westman. She is an amazing lady, and I will not introduce you to her. This is what she'll do for herself. Here you go. Over to you, Ingrid.
Hello, Zafar. Thank you for having me in your show. Yes, I'm here in Sweden in the Stockholm archipelago, and it's 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm a bit away from the family, so I wouldn't make them up. Um, what do I do? Yes, I try to restore the Atlantic forest in Brazil, and I also try to start projects in Africa to build recycled or build sustainable cities with materials that are recycled and also grown there so they can use their own stuff. Yeah, that's what I do right now.
Okay, that's amazing. And how about the housing and friendly homes and your past? You've been doing great stuff in earlier too.
Yeah. I ran a construction company for 14 years here in Sweden. It was called Friendly Building, and it still is Friendly Building. I will do work with in Africa as well. But then we built passive houses, which wasn't very asked for in those days. We had a slogan and we said, we build passive houses whether the client wants it or not. And we put solars on them whether the client can afford it or not. So I was a bit early trying to tell the whole market that we need to do this a different way. But 17 years ago, everyone thought, why should we? Energy is so cheap. And solars is just a gimmick. But yeah, and to do this, I had to start my own solar company as well in Sweden to get the solars I wanted. So yeah, that's a bit me. I'm a civil engineer, a Master of Science from here in Stockholm. I grew up in a smaller village called Örebro, which no one outside of Sweden has heard of, probably. I've always been passionate about environmental. My dad taught me when I was little about the ecosystems and everything. And also it's in the Swedish blood and Swedish school system to learn about it. So it's not that far away from us from the beginning. But he brought me out in the nature all the time, taught me about plants and birds mainly. And we also took a course together in 1988, I think. It was on a tape recorder, these plastic ones, small squared. I think it's called a tape recorder in English. So we sat there almost every day listening to this course. I don't know, it was like 20 lessons or something. And that really made me understand how the planet is only one planet and we cannot use more than we have. This was in 1988, and it was very tough to have this knowledge, and everyone else ignored it. And it's not rocket science. As soon as you think about it, you realize this is, of course, how it must be. But in those days, people maybe could understand it theoretically, but they couldn't understand that there was a problem if they did something wrong, if their company did something, used too much something. So yeah, it was. I've always been frustrated about this question for sure, but I never worked with it. I've never worked as a sustainability manager or anything like that. When I graduated, I started at the huge construction company in Sweden, one of the biggest, called NCC, and I was a trainee there for 2 years, and then site manager and all that, out in production with the helmet on and the shoes that protects your toes. And I loved it, and everyone wanted me to be a sustainable manager. I taught sustainability though. They started with this in those days. We were going to separate the waste. That was mainly what we were aiming for, which was a hassle. No one wanted to do it. Everyone thought it was a waste of time, waste of money, waste of space. Yeah, so I was. They wanted me to be sustainable manager and implement this, and also implement quality plan or sustainability plans. And I said, no way, I do that. I will be out there making sure we follow them. I will not try to implement it all over the country. So no. So I never worked with it.
That's amazing. I mean, you've been thinking in the past for the future needs, and that's why you were building the friendly buildings and with eco and with energy efficient. And I mean, okay, it's about the vision. One thing I'll ask about the rainforest, and then I'll be going to you towards your life's journey. I mean, how about the rainforest in Brazil? You've been working a lot there too.
Yes, I had to close my construction company 2 years ago, I think. Times flies, maybe it's three now. I don't know. Whatever. Because we had a bad economy here in Sweden, and the constructions industry just fell like a stone. Uh, and then I stood there and thought, what shall I do with my life? Building is the only thing I've ever done. But I also thought that whatever I do, whatever I spend my time on, must have a huge impact on the climate for the good. And I went to New York Climate Week to get inspiration. And there I realized there are two big issues that needs to be done that I can do something about. One was to restore nature, and especially the nature where the tropical forests are around the equator. And that's, if you look at a map where we send the money, where we use the money in the globe for nature, you wish it was there, where the big belt is where you really need it. But that's the only part we don't use the money. We use it mainly in Europe and the United States. Well, it's good if they do it there, but that's not where it's needed the most at all. Well, so I thought I'm good at project management, I'm good at startups. So I found a startup by coincidence and started to help them out just for free, just for fun. Um, yeah, so that's how it started. And then it was first one startup which only had one project, which I helped out with. It was in Bolivia, and then I found the other one and thought, "Hey, I already done forest. I can do some more." And for me, it's mainly to get started, to find the money, to find clients, to set up websites, to go to learn the market, to understand all this about carbon credits and so on. I'm not involved in planting the forest or knowing how to do it and all that, because that they know in Brazil extremely well. They've done this for hundreds of years. The Chua forest around Rio de Janeiro, is it 200 years old only? Because everyone thinks it's a rainforest that is millions years old. But it was replanted or restored by Dom Pedro II when he realized that the city didn't have fresh water, it had heat waves, the earth eroded, got poverty because it was only coffee plantage all around there and houses. And they needed nature to protect the village and to give them all the ecological benefits like fresh water. So he said that let's replant the forest. So he ordered that. And so they did 200 years ago. And today is a lovely forest, and it's very lucky for Rio to have it there. And this is what we're trying to do in Brazil with other forests. So we're looking for someone who wants to be like Dom Pedro II, have a huge forest on their conscience.
Wow, that's I mean that's really needed in this part of the world where we here in Pakistan, yeah, in Southeast Asia, and this is where we need. I mean, I can get you the people also who are crazy for deforesting and greenery, and they're working for the climate impact. That's amazing. Okay, now your life journey.
My life journey. Well, I'm very Swedish, although my mom's Hungarian. My dad's from the north of Sweden, and I have a brother. We grew up like a very classical family in Örebro. My parents are teachers, both of them, university, and my mom's a PE teacher, sports. Yeah, so she's very sporty. She was in the Olympics or she was going to the Olympics, but she escaped to Sweden instead in 1956. Um, yeah, sporty family, of course. And I studied technology already at high school. So my education has always been into math and technology. Back then it was high power, electric high power, but then I switched to construction. So always been around mainly men and boys my whole life, I would say. I think it was also because I was quite sporty and so on. Also played with a lot of boys when I was little. So that's my background. That's probably why I like to be in construction industry as well. I'm used to it. I'm used to work with a lot of men, and I know the. But now, when you go to London Climate Action Week 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I realized that now it's mainly women around me, and I love that too. It's very it's different, also in a good way. But I realize it's a new thing in my life. Yeah, I continued to the university in Stockholm. What is it called in English? The Royal School of Technology, I think. KTH in Swedish, anyway. And I also did economics and other stuff aside. Had a normal career in construction, site manager, project manager, whatever. Also been in real estate companies for some years to see the other side, and not only being the contractor, also the buyer or the developer. So I've been like half my working time, employed working time, on each side, to say, which is very interesting. You always think the other side is a bit stupid, or you don't understand why they make the decisions they do until you sit on that chair yourself. So I think it's very good when you think of your career to try different things and different roles, to not only see one side. Yeah, I have a family with 3 sons. My husband is a teacher in math and science, and my kids are 20, 18, and 7. So I'm very blessed. It's very fun, these ages, must say. Um, yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very fortunate. That's about me.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Honestly, it's such a full of life you've been and you are. And okay, what made Ingrid? I mean, right now you think exponential and you want to impact exponentially. I mean, when I look back, I just go through. I was going through your whole life journey, your stuff you've been doing. It's full of impact. And what made your mind that that big, like, cosmic. I mean, you think you're thinking in Galaxian. I mean, what made it?
That's
I
true.
mean, what was that made you so?
Yeah, I've been thinking of that because my brother also is an entrepreneur. He's more successful than me, I would say. So I think it must be our mother who brought us up, who made us think that there's no limits, think big picture, believe in ourselves, understand that. I mean, we are all humans. There are no superhumans. We're all the same. I mean, if you talk to anyone who's very successful, they're also quite normal person. So I think we all should believe in ourselves more. We should dare to think bigger. I love this one. If your dreams aren't, if you're not scared by your dreams, they're not big enough. And that's, I think that's what we should, how we should have it. And also, you learn as a project manager or in many skills, you learn that maybe you have a huge project in front of you, but you always start somewhere. It's like when you eat the elephant, you have to take the first bite. It's how everything works. So even if you have a big idea, you have to start in a small scale. And when I started my construction company, I said, I'm so fed up with this industry now. Now I've been saying this for 18 years. I don't know how long time I've been working there. And everyone else also said the same thing, what we need to do, what we should do. We should build more industrial, more cost efficient, more um, production efficient, and less loss. Everyone know this. We should build with higher quality. We should build on time. Everyone we're working against said they wanted to work towards these goals, and no one did it. We just kept doing the same things over and over and over again. And I thought, okay, now I start my own company, and I will show them how it's supposed to be done. So I invented a system to build the houses, so they always became passive. And a passive house is a low energy house. It uses 70% less energy than a normal house in Swedish standards. If you do it in other countries, I don't know how much better they become. Probably even more. Um, and it's not a new concept. It's now been around for like 35 years, and it's invented by a German PhD who was in Sweden to learn how we built energy efficient in those days, because we started to build more energy efficient when we had an oil crisis in the 70s, something 80s maybe. So that's when Sweden changed their oil heating buildings with oil and gas to heat pumps. So heat pump is not new either. I hear about it in the States when you go to these climate weeks in London and New York. People keep talking about, oh, we have to change to heat pumps. And some people say, but it's not possible. My house is not well insulated or whatever. And I'm thinking, oh God, we have had heat pumps for 30 years in this country, 40 years. And it works perfectly fine. And it's a much colder country than that they have. Anyway, that was aside. But I said that I was going to build, my construction company was going to build prefabricated modular buildings that looked like any other building. The architecture was not going to be affected by having it modular. And at the same time, the big construction company that I used to work for, NCC, they had put 100 million kronor into a project where they wanted to build prefabricated. And after they put all their money in, they decided to close it. And that's exactly the same time I decided to start my company. And on the paper, it sounded like I had the same business idea. And everyone I talked to was like, how do you think you can do it? You don't have 1 billion Swedish kronor. And even and there are so many, and they now closed it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. Maybe I'll do it a different way. When I came to the banks, they were like, "But why should you?" I mean, and it was a good time then. Whatever you built was sold, and yeah, there were lots of people in construction industry who made a lot of money. But as I said, I want to build passive houses, but there's no market for that, and I don't care. I want to do it. I want to show the market that this is how it could be done, cheaper, faster than the others, and with a higher quality, both architectural and, of course, on the materials, because that's part of building passive houses is that you need to be high in quality. So we did, but I started making one small house, one single home house, just to test my system and to do the measurements. And also, that was all I could get a loan for. Me starting this huge company who want to build villages and high skyscrapers. I had to go with one single house. And in those days, I had just been doing really huge projects, and I had to go down to just do a single house. And people were also saying, "Oh, Ingrid is back building single houses." Like, yeah, yeah, watch me. It's gonna be big. But yeah, people probably think I'm a bit crazy then. And as often when you have dreams like this in Sweden, you don't say it to so many because it's not in the Swedish culture to talk that way. But when you go to New York or to London, you can tell everyone your dreams, and they will be great. That's great. You're gonna make it. And here they just go, do you need to go to a psychiatrist hospital or something? Yeah.
Uh, I mean, you are an incredible personality. Honestly, I mean, generally when we talk to each other, we are sitting together. Normally, we are praising each other. Yeah, I mean, you're a great job. Yeah. But honestly, I mean, from core of my heart, now, I really admire your work, and that's why I reach you out, and I want your story to be told to everyone. And I've got few friends in Silicon Valley. Honestly, I mean, this is what you said lastly, that they'll accept any crazy idea, and they'll be even. They'll welcome this, and they'll be willing to do whatever they can, and they do. And that's why that's Silicon Valley. I mean, that's why they are the leaders. But again, what you've been doing is what they do. And
Yes,
what
there's
any
one
yeah.
difference. Yeah, but there's one difference because I try to do everything as simple as possible with things we already have, already proven things. I try to do it as cheap as possible for the big mass. Uh, like now, when I want to build in Africa, I want to teach the Africans to build with their own materials, their own homes in a sustainable way that will be high quality, it will last for generations, and then uh, it will make them like in Sweden 200 years ago. Sweden was a really poor country, and there we had a movement how to build your own home. It was called Egna Hemrörelsen, your own home movement. There we taught Swedish people to build their own homes, and those houses are still there. They're very attractive, very good designed houses. Of course, not energy efficient compared to today, but still, for those times, it was high quality. And this is not what Silicon Valley wants. They want to invent something new. They want some new tech. And also, when I do my rainforest, I want to restore nature. Just restore nature with plants that's supposed to be there. Uh, and I'm not inventing anything here. It's a system, yes. Inventing ways to finance it, yes. But there's no new tech to it. There's so many new tech companies out there who's going to help us with the measurements and the maybe planting. They haven't figured out the planting yet, I must say. We're not doing it with drones. But the whole finance industry They are only looking for new inventions all the time. And I think that time, we don't have it that time now. We almost fucked. We passed the 1.5-degree goal already that we were supposed to pass, I don't know, 2050 or whatever, 2030 at least. And we already passed it. Um, so there's no time for all these inventions in the future. We need to do it now, now, now. So yeah, that's why I'm wearing this. See? You know what this is?
No, I mean, just educate on this. I mean, I just give
Yeah,
it a
look,
little,
look,
give it a
everyone
close
knows.
shot.
Yeah, everyone knows this one. This is my bag. I always have this bag. It's made of hemp. Everyone knows these ones. Sustainable goals.
Sustainable goals, yeah, 17 sustainable
Yes,
goal of UN. Okay, yeah.
yeah. But this is the biodiversity goals. You see?
Wow.
I have it here in my bag. This is my bag I always bring, and I say this all the time. The, is it back to front now? Can you read it normally? The biodiversity
Yeah.
goals.
Wow.
United Nations biodiversity goals. Because it's not enough with only thinking about the humans. We need to also look at the nature and the biodiversity. We fact we don't do it. I mean,
Wow.
humans will be gone. And I just don't get why we can't understand this. What is it so hard to understand? But this is what we need to relate to now. Yeah. So yeah, so that's why I made it big so everyone should see it. I made this myself and I haven't done embroidery since I was in school. So you cannot look close. And I have to move so people don't see it so well.
No, this is amazing. I mean, since you are an incredible person, so you everything you do is incredible, honestly, and you are working for social impact, and you are already there. Okay, what the world, what do you want the world to do, or the people like my part of the world, or the people here in my country from Pakistan? There are a few people I know who are working for the this for the climate, and yeah, I mean this biodiversity. I mean there I could. I have not. I mean, since I've got very limited knowledge, but I don't see people working here for biodiversity. There might be few, but I really don't know. I mean, how can I bring this idea to this part of the world? This biodiversity idea.
It's very easy for me to sit here in Sweden telling you what to do in Pakistan. I would rather like to tell people here in Sweden what to do. But I mean, all this about sustainability is also about making it better for people because we have lost ourselves in what's good for us. We're chasing the wrong things. We're chasing, we, we, we want higher and higher salary, things we don't really need. And instead of spending time on things we actually like to do, chasing new money. So the whole, we lost ourselves. At least here in the Western world. Maybe in Pakistan too. I don't know. I've never been to Pakistan, but I can imagine. But also there, you don't have the same standard in us. So I can understand that you chase money to get up to a standard where you can afford a lifestyle where it's more convenient. Also, my kids think it's probably, yeah, I don't know about Pakistan. It's risky. But if I compare to Africa, which is more poor than Pakistan, many places. But if you think what's good for a human, I mean a human that has a good life, is spending time with family, is eating healthy food, is eating food that your body needs. It's not drinking soda, it's not eating sugar and fried stuff. It's eating a variety of vegetables, and you can eat some meat also. It's healthy, but not the amount of meat we eat. today in the Western world. It's crazy. And that's why we die of these diseases. Um, if you're out in nature, you do uh, exercise. That's we create a good. So, so being sustainable, to cycle instead of taking the car is good for the environment, but it's also really good for you. And to eat sustainable food for the planet is also very healthy for you. And if you talked about biodiversity, many soils in the Western world is almost dead. It's like deserts. So the food we eat today has much less nutrition than in the 70s. They say that today we eat much more vegetables than we did in the 70s in Sweden, but we get not even half the nutritions because the tomato today don't contain the nutrition that it used to because the soil it grew in was dead. It might not even grow in a soil now. It might only grow in mineral wool with some NPK, what that could be in English, those fertilizers. Uh, so, so I think we need to go back to the 70s or 80s, and see how did we have it back then. We grew the food in real soil. Uh, we switched what we grew. So one year grew one thing, and another year another thing to get the soil lively. Uh, so regenerative farming, that's something you should really do in Pakistan, all over. It's very healthy. It's very good for the biodiversity, and it's much more tasty food when it has the nutritions and the real color and everything. So yeah, so that's one thing. Regenerative farming for sure. If you come to building systems, you should look around the world. What is suitable for Pakistan building method? It's probably not concrete. It's probably something else. I think hemp is fantastic building materials. You get 4 harvests in a year. Uh, and you can grow it there everywhere. It's like a weed. Probably why weed is called weed, because it's related to the weed you smoke, but it's not. You can't smoke. I mean, nothing happens if you smoke it. There are probably other building materials that you used to use in Pakistan that you can take back again. Get rid of the concrete as much as possible. Then you will get better economy in the country if you don't need to import so much stuff. You will have more employees if they can work in their own country, and or you will have less unemployment because construction industry employs a lot of people. So yeah, and passive houses. I mean, 40% of the energy we use goes to heating or cooling the buildings, at least here in the Western world. I don't know about Pakistan specific, but I can imagine that you look at the cities in Europe and in the States thinking we want it like that, which I think you shouldn't. You shouldn't copy our bad mistakes. I can understand that you want cooling in your houses, but don't do it our stupid way. Do it in a passive way. Passive houses make their cooling systems smarter with less energy. And it will also make a bigger profit, or you will save much more money. You don't need to pay electric bills for cooling your house. Instead, you can save that money for something more fun than paying electric bills. So
Wow,
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
that's
some,
amazing.
some
You know, do you
examples
touch?
for Pakistan.
Yeah, you really touch one's heart when you talk of sustainable living and sustainable housing, and just because we everybody's dream is a palace, a big home, like a heavenly home, and we every person on face of earth is putting so much of the funds into housing that in the entire life goes on, it's become an idol. You keep worshiping to, I mean, the whole of your life you keep paying mortgages, and you don't care about yourself, about your children's future. It's a lot many things being forsaken for the sake of housing. So I mean, you this is amazing. I mean, I would love to we have, I mean, couple of podcasts on housing, especially just because we are crazy. We
Yeah.
are here in Pakistan. I mean, as if you talk of Sweden in 200 years earlier, that's the life we are having here in Pakistan. But I mean, I would love to have lot more podcast on housing. I mean, just because we are crazy. I mean, I could do. I mean, if I could say, if I could show you around. I mean, what kind of housing we are in, and you'll call us crazy because this is for Europe. Just because you people, I mean, look, this is how we live. I mean, these are housing. This is it,
It is,
and these are
it
all
is
closed.
beautiful.
I mean, like, I mean, though this would look nice, I mean, but I mean, we have to use then this such stuff. I mean, to keep it cool,
Yeah,
and
very
this is,
noisy. Mm.
yeah, yeah. Look at this. I mean, this is how we live, and these are housing, but I mean, all hot just because of this concrete. I mean, we have the
But I
all
think,
concrete, all
yeah, I think,
concrete. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I think
and
it's
and and
possible.
you know, you could see that
Yeah,
there's an old home. There is this house, this one. This is such an
yeah.
eco home, eco friendly. You could, I mean, I can't show you just because there are a lot of, and this is how they used to live earlier. I mean,
Yeah, because that
this is a
house is
house.
shaded. So that house
Yeah,
is
this.
probably much cooler than your
Yeah,
house.
yeah. This is, I
Mhm.
mean, this is all concrete. I mean, if you see that this is whole concrete, and this is
That's
very
it.
hot. I mean, it takes. I mean,
And no
but this take.
shading for the glasses and no, no. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and you see, I
they
mean,
are
this is
from
all green
themselves.
here. Yeah,
Yeah,
luckily where I live, this is very nice place. But I mean, this is old. I mean, this house, if you could see, this is all surrounded by huge tall trees all around. I mean, big. But now we have only this much of place. You see this, only this
yeah.
space. And look at these. I mean, you can see this whole. I mean, this was a huge big house.
Can you
And but
imagine being a kid? Which garden would you
yeah,
rather play in? Where would you rather
yeah.
play?
And this is how we live. I mean, this we are living crazy life just because we are following Europe, and I mean, we want to show people that we are living such a huge big house, and this is concrete. But I mean, I would love to learn about your idea. I mean, that's really amazing. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
would
would
love to. Yeah,
uh, now
happy
since I
to
have
share.
to run. So, okay, Ingrid, since I have to
Yeah,
run to my office now, and when do we see next? Yeah, just because I
yeah, you're
want to,
welcome whenever. We
yeah,
can make
there are a
another
lot of
one.
things to. I mean, we could not talk a lot on rainforest and biodiversity and civil engineering. There are a lot of things to talk about, and these
Yeah,
all are important, very
yeah, yeah,
important.
yeah. But let's
And
talk about
I mean,
buildings next time.
yeah.
Let's focus
That's
on
cool.
buildings. Yes.
Just because I also work in an organization that we are connected directly with housing. So I'm really
Yeah,
into this. I mean, I would love to uh, love to learn about more about housing and how we should, as you said. I mean, we should go back to basics, and this is amazing. I mean, you are more concerned about health, you are more concerned about the biodiversity, more concerned about the climate. This is amazing. I mean, although UN is after this a bit, but I mean, you people like yourself. I mean, my global abundance organization is for, it's at par, it's UNO of the the normal people like you and me. I mean, I have the similar goals, everything similar, but I mean, since I mean, they're the organization, the countries, and the politics involved in UN, but here I'm reaching out person to person around the globe. Those people of impact, they want to create impact, and let's talk on building next time. Thank you so much for being on my show, Ingrid. It was amazing having you on my show. Thank you so much. See you.
thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Any advice and last, and then a message to the planet?
Oh my goodness. What's good for the planet is also good for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, and see you in. I'm using it for the first time on my what do you call this live streaming because my laptop has gone on. Okay, I really don't know how to switch it off.
I don't know either
Yeah,
actually.
really,
Oh, there, up in
really.
the corner.
And this is
Look.
my first time.
Okay, I
Okay,
will not.
okay,
Bye.
it's okay. Bye bye, bye bye. Thank you, thank you.